My name is Farah Arbella.
My name is Farah Anissa.
And my name is Nusa Fiera.
So we are going to explain about educational innovation in the community participation and learning resources.
Community participation in education. Education takes place not only in school but also within families, communities and society. Parents and families cannot be the only group of the people for children education as long as their children interact with and learn from the world outside their families. Many research studies have identified various ways of community participation in education, providing specific channels through which communities can be involved in children's education. Various forms of community participations: A. Research and data collections. B. Dialogue with policymakers. C. School management. D. Curriculum design. E. Development of learning materials and school construction. Two models of education and community. Traditional community-based education, in which community provide new generation of young people with the education necessary for transmitting local norms and economic skill. In these models, education is deeply embedded in local social relation, and school and community are close linked. The second model is government provide education, in which government have assumed responsibility for providing and regulating education. The content of education has been largely standardized within and across countries, and government have dismissed the role of the community. Types of involvement to explain how school, families, and communities can work productively together. The first is parenting. Parenting is to help a family to establish home environment that support children learning at school. And then the second is communicating. Communicating is to design effective forms of school to home and home to school communications that enable parents to learn about school program and their children progress in school, as well as teachers to learn about how children do at home. And then the third is volunteering, to recruit and organize parents to help and support. And then after that is learning at home. Learning at home is to provide information and ideas to families about how to help students at home with homework and other curriculum-related activities and decisions, and also the planning. And after that is decision makers, is to include family in school decisions, to have parents, leaders, and representatives in school meetings. And the last is collaborating with the community, is to identify and integrate resources as well as service from the community in order to strengthen school programs, family practice, and student learning. Next, reasons to support the idea that community participation contributes to achieving the goal. 1. Maximizing limited resources. Although some communities have historically been involved in their children's education, it hasn't been fully recognized that communities themselves have resources to contribute to education, and they can be resources by providing local knowledge for their children. Involving parents, families, and communities in the process of research and data collection can reveal to them factors that contribute to lower enrollment and attendance and poor academic performance in their schools. And the second one is developing relevant curriculum and learning materials. Communities and parents' involvement help achieve curriculums and learning materials that reflect children's every lives in society. When children use textbooks and other materials that illustrate their own lives in their community, they can easily associate what they are learning with what they have already known. Third, identifying and addressing problems. Communities can help identify and address factors that contribute to educational problems, such as low participation and poor academic performance. This is well illustrated in the case of the Gambia, in which the techniques participatory ruler appraisal or PRI were adapted to education. The work was carried out in order to understand why girls do not attend schools, to mobilize communities around this problem, and to assist them in organizing their own solution. And next, promoting girls' education. Community participation can contribute to promoting girls' education. UNICEF in 1992 through participation in school activities and frequently communicating with teachers, parents, and communities can learn that girls' education contributes to the improvement of various aspects of their lives, such as increased economic productivity, improved family health and nutrition, reduced fertility rates, and reduced child mortality rates.
Next is creating community school partnerships. So communities can contribute to schools by sending respected community members, such as religious leaders, to the classrooms and talk about community history, traditions, customs, and culture, which have been historically celebrated in the community. Schools themselves also can contribute to community efforts by developing sustainable solutions to local problems. So next is realizing democracy. So involving communities in schools is a way of reaching democracy through identifying and addressing inequities embedded in institutions and society as a whole. And then in addition, it is a strategy to create an environment in which parents feel comfortable participating in schools. And then next is number 7, increasing accountability. So parental involvement in education, particularly in school governance, is seen as a means of making schools more accountable to the society which funds them. So the notions of parental involvement derives from a more market-oriented concept in which school-family partnerships are viewed rather like business partnerships, through which the two parties receive mutual and complementary benefits which enable them to operate more effectively. And then next, number 8, ensuring sustainability. So sustainability is dependent on the degree of self-reliance developed in target communities, and on the social and political commitment in the wider society to development programs that support the continuation of newly self-reliant communities. So community members are expected to be actively involved in the process of interventions through planning, implementation, and evaluation. Furthermore, they are expected to acquire skills and knowledge that will later enable them to take over the project. Next, the last one is improving home environment. So, families aware of the importance of education can contribute much to their children's learning achievement. Students from families that encourage children's schooling scored significantly higher on tests of learning achievement. Furthermore, families who are involved in schools not only have a better understanding about education, but also more willing to cooperate with schools in attempts to improve children's learning. In addition, parents can help their children with homework and make sure that children are physically ready to learn at schools.
And the next is how can community participation improve education? The first one is advocating enrollment and education benefits, boosting morale at the school staff, raising money for schools, ensuring students' regular attendance and completion, constructing, repairing, and improving school facilities, contributing in labor, materials, land, and funds, recruiting and supporting teachers, making decisions about school locations and schedules, monitoring and following up on teacher attendance and performance, forming village education communities to manage schools, actively attending school meetings to learn about children's learning progress and classroom behavior, providing skill instruction and local culture information, helping children with studying, and next is garnering more resources from and solving problems through the education bureaucracy, advocating and promoting girls' education, providing security for teachers by preparing adequate housing for them, scheduling school calendars, handling the budget to operate schools, identifying factors contributing to educational problems, or low enrollment and high repetition and dropout, and preparing children's readiness for schooling by providing them with adequate nutrition and stimuli for their cognitive development. And next is how can community participants support teachers. The first one is communities provide or construct housing for teachers who are from outside of the community. The second one is teachers can benefit from communities' active participation in their children's schools. The third one is community members can support teachers by contributing their skill to speak the local language when the majority of students don't understand the teacher's language of instruction. And the fourth one is parents and community members can contribute to teachers' teaching materials by providing them with knowledge and materials that are locally sensitive and more familiar to children. And next material is learning resources material. Below are definitions of the material types that can be selected during the upload process for both the primary material type field and the secondary or other material type field. And there are 25 learning sources materials. The first one is animation, assessment tool, assignment, case study, collection, development tool, drill and practice, e-portfolio, then the course, illustration, learning object repository, online course module, open journal article, open textbook, photographic image, presentation, quiz, reference material, simulation, social networking tool, syllabus, tutorial, video instructional, workshops, and training material.
Yeah.
That's all from us. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.